Thunderbolts is the final film in MCU Phase 5, ending what might be the most uneven run Marvel has ever had. So let's go through all 6 movies, rank them, and figure out if the MCU is actually back or if it might really be done this time. We start with Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. This movie was hyped like it was going to be the beginning of Marvel's next great saga. Kang was supposed to step in as the new Thanos-level villain. Instead, what we got was Jonathan Majors giving a solid performance that the script completely wasted. Kang doesn't feel scary or complicated. He just talks a lot about timelines and how many Avengers he's killed off-screen. The movie never gives us a reason to fear him in this story, and that's the problem. Ant-Man 3 shouldn't be a setup reel for Avengers 5. It should be a good Ant-Man movie on its own. And speaking of Ant-Man, the way they treated Scott Lang in this trilogy is criminal. In the first movie, he was clever, resourceful, and an underdog who earned his place. By Quantumania, he's basically a clueless dad who gets told by his own daughter that he's not doing enough. His arc is relearning how to be a hero, which makes no sense because he literally helped save the universe. Hope barely matters here. Hank is just comic relief, and Janet's big secret is that she used to date Bill Murray. That's not character development, that's trivia. Visually, it's even worse. The Quantum Realm looks like a PlayStation 2 cutscene with the contrast turned down. The action sequences are generic laser fights that don't use Ant-Man's powers in creative ways at all. And yet, somehow, the best part of the movie is MODOK. Not because he's good, but because he's so bad it's entertaining. That CGI face, that ridiculous arc about not being a dick, it's terrible, but it's memorable. Still, as a film, this is a failure across the board. Quantumania goes straight to D tier. Now let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is the complete opposite. James Gunn came in and reminded everyone what Marvel movies are supposed to feel like. It's emotional, it's funny, it's visually alive, and every character gets a real ending. Mantis realizes she's been living for other people and finally chooses to find herself. Nebula, who started as a villain years ago, becomes the leader she was always meant to be. Drax gets to be a father figure again instead of just the destroyer. Groot doesn't really have an arc, but he's Groot, and that's enough. But the 2 characters who carry the movie are Rocket and Peter. Rocket's story is heartbreaking. Those flashbacks to his past are brutal but necessary. You see the abuse, the cruelty, and the way it shaped him into someone who never thought he was enough. The High Evolutionary constantly told Rocket he was broken, and Rocket believed it. But by the end, Rocket learns to fully accept himself, leading to maybe the best line in the whole MCU. Name's Rocket. Rocket Raccoon. It hits so hard because you feel everything that came before it. Peter's story is more grounded, but just as powerful. He's been clinging to the Guardians as his only family after losing so much. But Mantis reminds him he still has people on Earth. Watching him finally go back, finally let go, is the kind of growth this franchise needed. And Chris Pratt sells it perfectly. The action is some of Marvel's best, from Adam Warlock's opening attack to that hallway fight that feels instantly iconic. The soundtrack is phenomenal, maybe the best of the trilogy, and the costumes make them feel like a real team. This is everything Quantumania wasn't. Guardians 3 is S tier without question. And then came The Marvels. This one is rough, not unwatchable, but rough. The biggest issue is the script. It tries to juggle 3 leads, an intergalactic war, and unresolved family drama all at once, and it doesn't handle any of it well. Carol's guilt over not returning to Monica could have been powerful, but the movie undercuts itself by ignoring continuity and wrapping the conflict up with a quick, "we're cool now." Dar-Ben is another forgettable villain who starts with a decent motivation, saving her planet, but then spends the rest of the film cackling and destroying worlds for fun. The movie explains way too much instead of showing us anything, and that drags it down. But it's not all bad. The chemistry between the leads is actually pretty good. Brie Larson feels more natural as Carol here, Teyonah Parris is solid as Monica, and Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan is the best part of the whole thing. She's funny, she's charming, and she single-handedly makes the film more watchable. There are even some genuinely fun sequences, like the musical planet scene or the cats evacuating the ship. It's ridiculous, but it's the kind of ridiculous Marvel used to lean into. Still, with its messy story and weak villain, the Marvels lands in the C tier. Next up is Deadpool and Wolverine. This movie proves that when Marvel just lets characters drive the story, everything feels better. Wade wants to save his family and prove his existence matters. Logan wants to make up for his past and be the hero the X-Men needed. Both arcs come full circle in ways that feel earned, especially when they finally fight side by side. The action is non-stop, the humor lands more often than not, and the cameos are pure fan service, but in the best way. Blade, Elektra, Gambit, Human Torch, X-23. It feels like a celebration of everything Marvel has been building for decades. And of course, Wolverine finally wearing the yellow and blue suit with the cowl is everything fans wanted. One of the real highlights of the film actually comes from the villains. Marvel made a smart move by bringing back Samuel Stearns, a character we haven't really seen since The Incredible Hulk. That's a deep cut, and it works because his return doesn't just feel randoms tied to everything that's happened in the MCU since then. Stearns isn't your typical over-the-top comic book bad guy. His motivations are rooted in the chaos and consequences of past Marvel events, which makes him feel far more believable and layered than the usual take-over-the-world type of villain. There's a sense that he's been shaped, even scarred, by the fallout of battles we've already witnessed, and that history gives him a lot more weight as a character. Then there's Harrison Ford, stepping into the role of Thunderbolt Ross, which is a big deal in itself. Ford brings a level of authority and presence that you just can't fake. Ross has always been this figure looming in the background of Marvel's political and military side, but with Ford taking on the part, the character feels sharper and more commanding. His presence alone raises the stakes, because you instantly know this is someone with the power and determination to push the story forward in serious ways. Together, Stearns and Ross give the film a strong backbone. They aren't just obstacles for the heroes, they're forces with believable reasons for doing what they're doing. And that makes the conflict much more compelling, because it's not just about good versus evil. It's about clashing worldviews and the fallout of choices made years ago. It's not perfect. The villains are weak, and the CGI in parts looks rough, especially in the finale. The overall color palette leans way too gray, which dulls the impact of some big moments. But honestly, the character arcs and the energy carry the film through. Deadpool and Wolverine are an A-tier movie. Then we have Captain America: Brave New World. This movie stirred a lot of debate, but watching it, I found it solid. Not groundbreaking, but not a disaster either. The action is some of the best in the phase, especially the Celestial Island sequence and the Red Hulk fight, which is pure chaos in the best way. The strongest part is the villains. Bringing back Samuel Stearns from The Incredible Hulk was a great choice, and his motivations actually make sense. He's not a cartoon villain, he's shaped by the fallout of past Marvel events, which makes him feel more grounded than most. Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross also adds weight. Sam Wilson's arc as Captain America works too. He's not trying to be Steve Rogers. He's carving out what Captain America means now, in a world that's more cynical and fractured. It's not perfect, but it's a respectable entry that sits right in the B tier. Finally, we end with Thunderbolts. The concept behind this film is actually really fantastic. Instead of the usual polished superheroes saving the day, it brings together a group of anti-heroes and former villains, people who aren't exactly role models, but who are now being pushed into working as a team. It's Marvel's own spin on the kind of messy, unpredictable dynamic we saw with DC's Suicide Squad. And when the movie leans into that energy, it really works. Florence Pugh's Yelena, for example, continues to be one of the brightest parts of the Marvel Universe. She has this perfect mix of sharp humor and vulnerability that makes every scene she's in instantly more engaging. Then there's Sebastian Stan as Bucky, who carries this weary, battle-scarred presence. You can feel the weight of everything his character has gone through, and it gives the team some real emotional depth. And of course, David Harbour's Red Guardian brings the laughs. His larger-than-life, almost bumbling charm cuts through the seriousness, reminding you that not every hero or anti-hero has to be sleek and flawless to be entertaining. What makes these moments so effective is how the cast plays off one another. The clashing personalities, the humor, the tension. It all comes together to create something fresh for Marvel, a little rougher around the edges, but fun to watch unfold. But as a finale to Phase 5, it feels underwhelming. The team dynamics don't get the time they need to really develop, and the story falls into the same Marvel trap of a big, messy CGI climax that overshadows the characters. There are flashes of brilliance, but it doesn't stick to the landing. For me, Thunderbolts sits in the C tier. So, looking back at Phase 5, Quantumania in D tier, The Marvels and Thunderbolts in C, Brave New World in B, Deadpool and Wolverine in A, and Guardians 3 holding down the S tier. It's a mixed bag, and maybe that's the truth of the MCU right now. It's not dead. It's not fully back. It's limping, stumbling, and occasionally finding its footing again. Guardians 3 and Deadpool prove there's still life here. The rest show how far Marvel has to go if it wants to get back to what made it special. What do you think? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and hit that notification button so you don't miss out. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.